Greetings, my friends. I'm Paper Ninja,
And I'm Misuki.
and today we're gonna be making a Fantasy Maiden Wars complete box tier list, just based on our opinions only. And let's introduce ourselves, though. Misuki, what do you do exactly?
Yes, like I mentioned, my name is Misuki. I'm just a small YouTube content creator that mostly focuses on Toho fan game content. Most of it are actually Genso Wonder Reloaded, and this game that we're gonna talk about, Fantasy Maiden Wars complete box. There's also a few games like Missions Izakaya and
Greetings, my friends. I'm Paper Ninja,
I'm Misuki.
and today we're gonna be making a Fantasy Maiden Wars complete box tier list, just based on our opinions only. And let's introduce ourselves, though. Misuki, what do you do exactly?
Yes, like I mentioned, my name is Misuki. I'm just a small YouTube content creator that mostly focuses on Toho fan game content. Most of it are actually Genso Wonder Reloaded, and this game that we're gonna talk about, Fantasy Maiden Wars complete box. There's also a few games like Missions Izakaya and Toho Blooming Chaos 2, but most of my videos are playthroughs rather than guides.
Oh, okay, I got you. And I'm Paper Ninja. Right now I make Fantasy Maiden Wars videos. Sometimes I do kind of show-offy things, and other times I make more guide-oriented ones or character analyses. Made one a couple of days ago. But today we want to just focus on the tier list, kind of just for fun. And
Yeah.
what do you think our criteria is going to be? Just really quick. What are we looking for?
So if we're gonna tier some characters, we're gonna base it on their availability. So how early can you get the character and how often do you have access to them? Their skill sets. So this would involve their personal abilities, generic skills that they came with when they joined, and and spirit list abilities they can use and unlock later on. And lastly, their unit performance, which includes combat, focusing mostly on damage, defensive capabilities, which is more on survivability or dodging, and lastly, support capabilities, or how can they help other units on the game.
All right, I got you. Okay. Sounds like we got a criteria pretty clearly. Let's get started. Otherwise, we got a lot of characters to go through here, as you can see.
Yeah, this is over 80 characters, guys.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, let's start with the protagonist. I don't think there's any contest here, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just gonna put the protagonist.
Yeah, there's
In
no
S4.
contest here. Early, it's just joins early. They're really strong. They're really strong. Yep. The ones without the where it's basically the fully upgraded version. Just available really early, really strong. It's almost never a waste to field them. They can get strong pretty easily. What about
Indeed.
Pre-Maurice though? Like Pre-Maurice, I lean towards A because she struggles more towards the early game, in my experience.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's very true. That you need to use other units to actually able to perform well with pre-upgraded Marisa. But nevertheless, she still does very good damage. She's just MP hungry and kind of fragile in terms of survivability.
Yeah, and there are ways to help fix it. Okay, Rumia, USD.
Yeah. So where would you put him? Put her actually.
I mean, she's available pretty much near the start as well. Joins like chapter 4, basically. No, chapter 5, where she would join. Yeah, she's pretty good. Pretty tanky. You can beat Kari with her for sure. The attacks hit kind of hard. She already starts to support defend. Kind of beefy. She also helps all your knight characters too, like the people who can only function knight, like the vampires. She also has Daunt. Like one of the few characters with Daunt, gets strike early, gets scarred, gets guts. I think, yeah, pretty good character in my opinion. I kind of want to put her in A, but where would you put her?
I think A is a good place too because she's available early and very reliable, just like you said, and can support other characters by defending for them.
Yeah, okay. See where you're doing. Dai Yosei, our first healer, mostly. Any contest here? Just straight up. Just Any context?
Yeah, it's very like Lumia, available quite early, reliable healer. And unlike as a healer unit, they actually don't need to fight for experience. They just need to heal other people. So you're basically giving other units the resources while fighting, and they're just doing their own thing.
Yeah, kind of agree. Support bot, heal bot. Cherno, the strongest fairy. Available early. She's got pretty good utility. Damage is okay. 15 spirit grit. It's pretty good. Gets strike as well, so it's not like she's gonna miss. Her freezer beam is pretty good too. Lowers enemy evasion by 50%. You need every scrap of accuracy you can get, honestly.
Yeah, on higher difficulties.
Yeah, I kind of want to put in. She falls in damage in the third game though. Like she gets noticeably very weak, a lot weaker.
Yeah.
And the third game is where things get pretty hard. I kind of want to put in B. What do you think though?
Yeah, I think V tier is a fair assessment. Like we mentioned, available early as well. But the problem with her is she starts falling off on the third game, and at that point she's just a cheap crit fairy for survivability.
Yeah, he doesn't hit hard enough with the HP inflations.
Yeah, indeed.
Unlike the protagonist, they all hit hard. Alright, Mei. Support defend level 2. Gets guard. Eventually gets support defend on player phase. Pretty freaking strong. Her attacks hit pretty hard for what she does. Yeah, she's pretty good. Has some pretty good personal skills as well. Probably one of the best support defenders in the game. Like, no questions asked. I put her in A, but what do you think?
Yeah, A. I'll say she's the best support defender, honestly, in the game.
Yeah.
So A tier is completely fine with me.
I got you. Kowakuma, the MP battery. Yeah, much like Diose can get EXP just off giving MP. You can do some.
Indeed.
Yeah, she gets pretty much infinite EXP in this game. I put her in A. You can do some. She eventually comes with the full ammo and full MP like reload as a spirit. Costs 65 SP. It's really good. And the moving resupplies is very good.
Yeah, she's one of the. I think she's the only unit that can do that.
Yeah, she's the only unit that can do that. There's only
Which
3
is
characters.
very important.
There's 4 characters that can resupply. You know, Akyuu can actually resupply.
Oh, you know. I do not know that.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, not that you would, but yeah, not. All right, Pacholi, knowledge. Ooh, snipers.
So
huh?
the first sniper on the tier list. So in experience, she's kind of mediocre in terms of damage because on hard difficulties, when they can't attack back on Pachu, they would just dodge or basically defend, greatly reducing Pachu's damage. She just joined quite early, like they can say when you're fighting Sane, but she's a very weak performer during that stage.
Yeah, she does come with hit and run. Her personal skills makes Agni shine post movement, but I feel like that's not good enough. 5-3 movement is really bad too.
Yeah, 5-3.
Yeah, 5-3 is terrible. And when you're 5-3 movement, your units are moving ahead. Yeah, you get picked. You fall behind pretty quickly. In some maps, it doesn't really matter because you take as long as you want. But if you're trying to play efficiently and just trying to wait, yeah, it really sucks. Also, like, you're trying to get away from Yukiko's spell card, right? Like, because, you have to run away, right?
Yep.
How's Pacholi going to get anywhere? He's got nothing.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna get hit. She needs to rely on avoiding, and that would drain her SP very quickly.
Yeah. She is a decent support defender, but if you're building her that way, like, why would you do that when, like, mailing exists that way?
Yeah, when other units is like, even Rumia's way cheaper.
Rumia is cheaper. I put it in C.
Yeah, C there's fine.
Alright, Sakia Izayoi. Now, I really like her as a unit. Man, she's so strong. So strong.
Yeah, indeed. One of the strongest units in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think she... Man, I say that she's one of the strongest, but I still want to put her in B just because she has trouble. She has some trouble in the PCB arc. And MOF. She has some trouble there. Once it gets to the third game, she's perfectly fine. Like, she's so strong. Like, is immensely strong. But there are some difficult stages in the PCB arc. The MOF stages aren't too hard, but the PCB ones are kind of hard, especially if you're going for the EX objectives.
Oh, that's true.
Her skill at 130 power is a lot easier to do in the third game, but not a lot harder in the second game because there's limited enemies. You have no way to really consistently get power.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to put in the second. I kind of want to put in very, very high B. I think if her performance was better in the second game, I would put her A for sure. But her offense is so high though.
For me, yeah, that's definitely true. That her when she get when the IN part of the game starts, she quickly gets a huge power spike.
Yeah, just a major power spike.
So big. So honestly, while you say it's a high B tier, I would actually put her on A tier.
All right, I don't mind putting her in A. I would put her in A. She's so strong.
Yeah, she's really strong because her only problem would be the early game, right? But once she gets out of there, she will start destroying enemies super easily.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worth it.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah. Remilia Scarlet, the leader.
Okay, the boss of the EOSD.
Yeah, her spirits aren't that bad, but 3.5 with a lot of downside. So many downsides, like vampire. You need night terrain, 1 item slot, 3.5. If you don't have Rumia out, she's totally screwed. If you have like Rumia out, you need to position your units around Rumia, right? It's a lot harder to position better because you're not as flexible. You can't just run out there and go fight. And she does have Excel, right? Rumia is like if she excels and runs ahead, right? There's no way Rumia is gonna be able to catch up with her night field. So then Remilia would just take the penalty, the terrain penalty for being out in the sun. She doesn't have the parasol.
Indeed, and using the parasol is quite a waste of a equipment slot, to be honest. Like it only nullifies the penalty as a vampire and doesn't really give anything else. So it's kind of big waste for an equipment slot. So not really worth using. And you could pair her with Rumia. So Rumia will always be behind her, but that would be wasting Rumia's support defending potential and kind of wasting one of her piece for the nighttime just to babysit Remilia.
Yeah, I kind of want to put in D just because of that. Too expensive, way too much to work with. Way too much to work with.
Yeah, and the payout isn't that incredible. She does have a really strong versatility later on. Its intuition now affects both pairs. That 100% accurate and 100% evasion on both pairs is amazing, but it takes a long while to get there. Maybe just long. And still kind of questionable to fill the 3.5 just for that.
Yeah. All right. Flounder Scarlet. There's one thing she does well. Just a lot of damage. Man, her survival. Her post movement is terrible. It's really expensive, even with MP save. It's like 26 MP for 1 attack if you're using her post movement attack. Same thing with Remilia as well. Like vampire. Needs 170 power to unlock her true damage. So if you she chugs MP too. So if you help her with Kokuma, right? She loses 10 power, and then that disables her 170. That disables her personal skill, which she gets plus 30% damage at 170 power. That's very bad. Not good.
Yep.
Too much. I think she requires too much setup, but she does do a lot of damage for sure.
Indeed, she's in terms of damage, she could be one of the potentially strongest support attackers though.
Yeah.
So that does put her way higher than not really way higher, but higher than Remilia for sure.
All right.
Because she's actually doing something big.
Yeah. Where would you put her?
I'd probably put her at C tier.
All right.
She's very.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, nice one.
All right. Letty White Rock.
Letty. So she's actually, in my experience, she is surprisingly a very good unit. Though she joins quite late, in my opinion. but she does help in damage and has pretty okay survivability.
Yeah, she
And
got some pretty decent personal skills that lower enemy evasion as well. That's always helpful. 'Cause
yeah, and
enemies-
it works on bosses. Too.
Yeah, it works on bosses too. I'm leaning towards B.
And if it B tier,
Yeah.
I mean B tier.
Yeah. What do you think?
You know, B tier is a good place for her.
Here it is.
I think the only thing that's holding her down is her availability.
Yeah. I forgot. You know, we totally forgot to mention that we're doing this on hard mode, not Lunatic. Huh.
Oh yeah, I forgot to
Yikes.
mention that we guys are rating this based on hard difficulty, where enemies are a lot more health, and at certain stages of the game, enemies would start using spirits. They don't do it at the start, but later on in the game, I think it's the fourth game or third game, right?
Fourth game. Yeah, they start using
Fourth
spirits.
game, yeah. Enemies will start using spirits like Great, Axel, even Full Heal. So gonna remember that, guys.
Yeah, on Lunatic they just use it right away. Don't care.
Yep. And
All right.
Lunatic is insane.
Yeah. All right, Chen.
So Cheng, quite a reliable unit that joins in IN. So what can you say about Cheng? Because personally, I haven't used her a lot. I just started recently using her, so that's when I can't really judge her.
Well, I mean, how's your experience with her so far?
So far, she's quite a reliable unit. You know, she has decent damage. She's quite evasive, and he can also increase the XP gain for her and her pair. She can move very far as well, which is a very good plus.
S rank on ground,
I
I think.
think-
Yeah. B rank. I think she's got
Yeah.
S rank in ground, B rank in air. But how many items does she have? 3 or 4?
She has 3 slots, which is actually
That's still
okay.
pretty good. But she's 2.0. That's
Yeah,
pretty. That's pretty respectable.
Yeah, I think the only problem I have here is that she falls later in terms of damage and survivability. But you know, at the time you get her, she does deal good enough damage, so you can't really neglect her for that.
Yeah. 2.0 damage units are pretty good early. Like when they join, they're pretty good. But they fall later. I kind of want to put it between B and C. Like I'm kind of torn. Like I'm thinking hard mode as well, right? I think like her damage is okay, but not good enough for the HP inflation. But she can take out the mooks pretty easily. She's pretty fast. Like I'm putting between C
I'm
and B.
looking for a low B tier for me. You know, like for how early you get her, she does do very well in that time.
I don't
So
know.
you
If
can definitely tier.
I don't know if I say she joins early, but yeah. I don't mind putting in B. It's like okay.
She joins at IN, right? If I remember.
Yeah, she joins an IN.
Yeah, that's quite early for me.
Sure, that's early. That's like basically the halfway point of the game. All right,
I mean, that's true.
Alice Margatroyd. Any
Alice.
straight up any contest here?
No, not really. You know, like she's actually available way early, basically to help Marisa, and she could spawn dolls to support defend for sure. Okay damage, and she also has focus. So you know, it's pretty good spirits for early game, and she also can. I think she also has increased crit damage.
Yeah, she does, and it levels up too.
So yeah, that's actually pretty good, you know,
Yeah.
for early stages of the game. And since you do outget her early, you could keep racing her, and she would scale very finely until the end of the game. You could basically race her with Marisa if you want to.
Yeah, they do come with friendship. Yeah, she's pretty good. I agree. I put her in A rank. She very good.
Speaking of dolls,
Speaking of the dolls. Okay, I gotta make another. So,
Alright,
I'm gonna
yeah.
put this. This.
meme units.
I kind of want to put them. I'm sorry. I don't think I can put them any higher. They don't scale, so they're just so weak.
Yeah, indeed, they're very weak. They're basically disposable support defenders.
Yeah. Oof. And they do count towards your casualties, which really sucks. It just makes you look bad.
Yeah, the game shames you for it.
the
Can't
game,
believe you let
the
dolls
game
die.
shames you for it. I
And
agree.
we also need to mention that they also in summoning these dolls, they actually consume MP as well from Alice.
Yeah. So it is less
One-
MP for a finisher.
Yeah, like one could say its spirit chip it's just 25, But the problem is Alice can spawn way more, and since they're disposable, you kind of need to skip spawning more if you want to use them. And they're pretty weak. Like they could, in the early stages of the game, they could tank 2 hits before dying, right? But in later stages, like on the third game, they will instantly die with 1 hit, even from basic enemies.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
gonna be
right.
at that point, you're just wasting MP.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's then move on to Lily White. Any contests here?
Wild.
Yeah, any contests here?
Another support unit, yeah. She's basically like the Yusei, to be honest.
Yeah. More healers, always good. Cheap
Yeah.
healer, sorry. Cheap healer, I should specify.
Cheap healers.
We got a combat form though, Lily Black. You have more experience with
Yeah,
using
Lily
her than
Black.
I do. Where would you put her?
Lily Black is just like you mentioned, is a more offensive Lily White that you unlock way later in the game as a secret. So the problem with her is while she does change the spirits to be offensive, her damage performance is still incredibly weak compared to other units of her cost because she's still using the stats of the support unit version. So her damage is kind of lackluster if you do
Ouch.
change her to the combat form. Yeah, like I tried her in Lunatic, she fall down way so hard.
You get
You
Lily
kind
Black.
of need to start.
You get Lily Black kind of late too, huh?
Yeah, you get her at like the fourth game actually.
Oh, yikes.
You get her when you're starting to fight Akyuu, so that is super late, in fact.
Yeah, that's
So
really
at that
late.
point, you're probably raising her as a support unit. So when he changes to a combat unit, you need to buy abilities again, and that means you're gonna consume more and more. And at that point, you didn't use her for combat, right? You wouldn't have enough personal points for offensive skills. So yeah, she's very lackluster, and even then, she's lackluster, and joins way too late. I would personally put her at low C tier, to be honest. She's actually a downgrade from changing support to offensive.
Okay, got you. All right. So Prison River Sisters, Lunasa, Merlin, Lyrica. I'll start with Lyrica. I think she's a C tier. I have used her individually, but have you used her at all, like individually?
I haven't really used them individually outside of Merlin.
Just Merlin? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just Merlin.
She's the weakest of the three sisters. She doesn't have anything like super going for her. She does not get to have the accuracy and evasion boost for players, but pretty much Mystia does everything better than she does. If you're using her, you're pretty much just using Lyrica for the Prison River combo. Her spirits aren't that bad. She does have like a really, really cheap double EXP gain. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty much just fielding her for the combo. The other one is she's only one of two characters that has hope, which grants, I think, 50 SP. Yeah, 50 SP.
Yeah, 50 SP. That's
Yeah,
actually
50
the only reason I fielded her.
Yeah, she's.
That
That's pretty much it. All right, Merlin.
so
no
Merlin is
No contest, right?
yeah, Merlin is a lot better than Lyrica. Like you mentioned, Lyrica is more for the combo unit or hope if you want to restore SP, right? But Merlin quickly grants power to nearby units, which is incredible, especially for the early first turns of the stage.
Yeah. And if it's like a slow map too, where you don't have to rush, you just take all the time you want to get power.
Yeah, very useful.
Yeah, and by extension, she actually gives Kokuma EXP too, because that attack where she gives power is really MP intensive, even with MP save and magician. Oh, sorry, not magician. She gets musician.
No, not magician.
She gets musician,
Yeah, musician.
which reduces her MP cost by 20%. Even then, it's really expensive. But she gets so much EXP from boosting power that she'll level up really quickly, and then Kokuma can just give her EXP and then just get more levels.
Yep.
It's absolutely
And-
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's actually very good. And her power boosting attack is a map, and it does also affect units. All units in a pair, not just on the front like Mystia, which we will get into later.
Yeah.
So that could arguably be better even.
Yeah. Guys,
And if that's not enough, she also increases the power of nearby units with her personal ability. So a power battle.
yeah,
very
literally
good.
power bot. But power bot in this game is pretty good.
Yep.
Who knew? Lunasa.
Oh, Lunasa. Okay, I didn't use her much like Lyrica, so I can't really say much.
I got it. I got
as a
it.
standalone unit.
Use it for Daunt. She has the cheapest Daunt in the game. Very respectable Spiritless as well. She also has an AoE map reduction attack, which you can use. And if she successfully hits a target, that target can lose 2 power as well. You use it for Daunt strat, but she's good enough. She's basically Lunatic worthy. And that's pretty much says a lot. I know we're rating on hard mode, but if a character's Lunatic worthy, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they could basically do hard mode as well.
Yeah.
Because Lunatic is the hardest, and hard is just, a little bit easier than Lunatic.
Yeah. Speaking of the combo, I think we both agree here, right?
Yeah, 8 tier. So the Prism River Sister combo is basically a 6-point unit because you're fielding 3 units to make the unit. This unit, right? But if you combine them, they're actually incredibly good. They're super beefy. It contains all 3 spirits of the sisters, and they also do a very good amount of damage. You really can't neglect this unit.
Yeah, we have more A tier units than we do like everybody else.
Don't worry. We're gonna get. We're not even halfway through. Don't worry.
That's true. We're only in PCB. Yomu. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in A tier.
Yomu, A tier. So yep, A tier. Very good unit.
Oh, she has the strongest finishers for 2 games straight in the early game. What the heck? Who decided that was okay?
must be my favorite.
God, it's so dumb.
But yeah, Yomu is so strong, and she's actually quite. I think she's available very early, right?
She is early, yeah.
Yeah, but she just disappears on the PCB arc because it's PCB.
Yes, PCB.
But while you have access to her, she's incredibly powerful. You should use her in early game.
Yeah, use her in the early game, and then when she comes back too, when she rejoins you, gosh, she's so strong. Her finisher is so strong. I believe, even on Lunatic, it is the strongest finisher you have access to. Like from base, it's so strong. And it pierces barriers too, which is really important. Because Yukari has barrier, and Yuuko's... Yeah, Yuuko too. Speaking of Yuuko, no contest here either, right?
Yeah, another 8 there. So unlike Yomu, who's available early and super damage, like she has a lot of damage, Yuuko is more on the very versatile side.
Yeah, she does like everything really well. Her really only like quote unquote support, I guess, is Rally, which is still really strong, and Enable. One of 3 characters with Enable, and that's pretty much enough to like bump her up really high. If that wasn't even enough, she's really hard to kill too. Like she's almost nearly impossible to kill.
Yeah, which is surprising,
Yeah, what the heck? And for 3.5 as well, her combat is actually decent. Like she's not gonna hit super hard, but man, she hits quite well actually.
Yeah, she hits quite well.
Yeah, and you can do some really ridiculous strategies with her as well. It's A tier.
Yep, A tier material right here.
Yep, Ran Yakumo. Where would you put her?
So Ran. So she's quite a decent unit. I've been using her from hard to Lunatic.
Yeah.
She's decent. She has a generic. She has a personal ability that improves generic skills like belief and predict, and guard and diligent. But you don't really want to counter with her. Or she could summon Zenki and Goki, which are pretty bad. Don't use that ability. Don't use that ability. Or she could get improved Shikigami bonuses with Yukari, which we're gonna talk about later. I'll say she's I'll say she's a B tier unit, not a baby. I'll say she's a B tier unit.
Baby,
she doesn't.
Baby Ron, huh?
Baby Ron. Oh my god. But yeah, she's quite decent as a unit. You don't really get her early, despite saying Cheng appears early, because they basically join nearly at the same time. It's not the same. I think they join at the same time,
right?
INR. Yeah, but Ran is quite a reliable unit for her time, You could use her and she'll pretty much do the stuff that you want. The only downside is she does take a while to ramp up. Like she's like Sakuya. Like she's not very weak, but you could see her being weak compared to the other units you have.
Yeah. Speaking of
once you raise her,
Yeah, once you raise her, she's pretty good. She's the kind of character that if you overinvest in her, she becomes pretty strong.
Yeah, because remember that you could level, predict, and believe, and run does improve those abilities, which is really good.
Yeah. Speaking of the last member of the Yakumo family, Yukari Yakumo. No contest here, right? Just straight up A.
Yes, straight up A. Wow, there is a lot of A tier. That is true.
Yeah.
So why is she A tier? Care to explain?
Well, she's pretty much one of three characters later on. Sorry, yeah. With the Dream, which basically gives it all access to Spirit on your team at double the SP. That sounds pretty bad, but if you use it sparingly, you can actually make a lot of good utility out of it. Number two, her personal skills do seem kind of gimmicky, where like she could teleport another unit next to her, or she could teleport someone into the ship. That does sound pretty gimmicky, but in certain maps, it is almost mandatory that you do that. It's so effective in doing certain strategies that can almost trivialize the map. And the map is kind of hard too.
Yes.
I can think of several maps that like several maps where just having Yukari would have been so much better. Like can you imagine the moon escape battle, right? If she was there, right? You reach all the way to the end with Yukari, and then you beat up your Hime, and then your unit's trapped there, right? But you just teleport Yukari. You just use Yukari's teleport them out, right? Would that be great?
Yeah, that's actually really great.
Yeah, but
that would legitimately trivialize that map, actually.
Yeah,
that would
right? Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, unfortunately we don't get access to that. But again, I can think of several maps where just Yukari being able to teleport a unit next to her is just so strong.
Yeah.
She's pretty tanky too. She's not weak either. She's pretty tanky. She hits decently too. Like her attack isn't weak at all.
And she also what's that?
She crits pretty often because she has the wisdom skill, the wisdom generic skill. She's one of the very few characters who has it. Yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. And she also has another personal ability that lets you use one item anywhere from the team, right? Just a consumable item to another member, which is pretty good. Let's say you have an SP item on someone that doesn't really use it, you could feed it to someone else. You could only use it 2 times per stages, but it's actually really good, especially for MP restoring items.
Yeah.
Or even SP.
Yeah, I agree. Suika Ibuki.
So similar to the Prism Reverse, I didn't really use her a lot. Actually, I think I only used her once. On the stage where she's force deployed against Yugi and Parsi. So even then, I didn't really use her. I just used her as a support attacker. So what about you?
Well, unfortunately, from my experience, I gotta put her as C. You're doing like a base playthrough on hard Lunatic. It's pretty hard to make Suika pretty good. Like she's 3.5. That's already a thing against her. So she's pretty expensive. She comes with S size, but she does have Oni, so like that doesn't really matter. My problem with her is she gets her best skill, like her best spirit, really late. Wrath, right? Wrath really late. I think like level either 60 or 65. It's pretty ridiculous. So you can't even take advantage of her very powerful support attack. Her main gimmick is that she can either increase like the range and damage of her attacks, which is whatever, or increase her size, right, to double L and triple L. Those two are the best ones for burst damage purposes. She hits pretty hard, and she is on the tankier side, but you can say that for like a lot of other characters too. She needs a lot to get her online to be strong. But if you do the same thing with like Marisa or any of the other A tier characters like that are actually combat oriented, they're way better. I will say that I would use her over Flandre though because she requires less maintenance. Also Ibuki Gourd. Ibuki Gourd is really good.
This is the move that restores her MP to max, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Wriggle.
So, have you used Wriggle a lot?
I have used her on a couple runs. I haven't really been able to like break her or anything. Honestly, she's kind of mediocre. She's like okay, like average, right?
Alright.
Her spiritless isn't terrible or anything. She does come with the ever so awesome Confuse, which reduces enemy final accuracy rate to 50%. It's pretty good. Her survivability isn't that bad either. I think her damage is on the more lacking end though. For 2.0, there are definitely more hard hitting 2.0s.
Yeah, so I actually use Wiggle a lot. I actually have a save that I use Team 9.
Yeah.
And she's arguably the worst member in Team 9, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, she's the worst member. She deserves to go and see her. I don't think she's Remilia level, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she is cheaper than Remilia without a downside, so...
That's true. Mystia, Lorelei. And just straight up, no contest here, right? No.
Yeah, Mystia. So, we mentioned earlier that Merlin beats Mystia in some form in giving power. But the thing about Mystia is she actually does more than just giving power. Like, she could buff your accuracy and evasion. She could heal a unit, or heal units, in fact. She could also provide power like Merlin that we said, and also boost damage, like straight up damage multiplier. She's actually insane.
Yeah. Not having her is such a handicap, like actually. Alright. Kane Kamishirasawa. I like her a lot. I have used her. I would argue that she's A tier because you really do need her. She comes with two very good skills. Spirits immediately. She gets guard. No, sorry. She gets trust, which is 2,000 MP to 2,000 HP to someone heal, and she gets strike, which we both know is just insane.
Yeah, very important in the early game.
Yeah, her finisher is really strong. Headbutt. It's almost as strong as Yomu's. She doesn't come with support defend. But it is a good idea to get at least like one level support defend on her, and it is worth it. I think
she does get support attack.
Yeah, she does come with support attack though. So you can't get double headbutt off. I would say she's A tier, but where would you put her? Like she's really helpful early.
Yeah, she's really helpful early. Like she's actually like Marisa. You kind of need Kanye to babysit Reimu on the early stages too in terms of damage, you know, because Reimu can dodge, but maybe something could be lackluster in terms of damage. Like that's where Kane fills the role. But the problem I have with Kane is she tends to follow like after the I think the second game or third game. I'm feeling that her damage is starting to fall down.
Yeah, I personally use her until the end of like Subterranean Animism. Because I think she's good enough to make it all the way to the end of there. Afterwards, I would probably drop her. But that's I think that shows how resilient she is, just how strong she is. That she can make it all the way to there and still do good damage. Because even then, headbutt can still do 6 to 12,000 damage, which is a lot.
Oh, that's true. And also, it's pretty cheap in MP cost too, so it's not super expensive.
Yeah, it's not like mega expensive. I put her in A, but that's like this form I would put in A because that's the form that you get for the first 2 games. She's really good in the first 2 games.
Yeah, you know, I can agree with that.
Put her in A?
Yeah, put her in A because, you know, like you mentioned, she is very strong early game. I also said that. And the gripe I have with her falling down does come in another unit, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Alright, Tewi.
Okay, Tewi is a very interesting unit. Like, I would personally say that she's a unit that you should avoid at all costs.
Damn, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, so the reason is she actually joins a little bit late, you could say, for that. Like, she joins alongside with Eren and Kaguya, and she's actually the weakest one when they all join together. She's actually pretty cheap. So, I think she's 2.0, right? 2.0 or 2.5?
Yeah, I think she's 2.0.
Okay, 2.0. But her damage, so bad. Like, horrible in terms of damage. And the only thing she does provide is mostly being a distraction because she has a spirit that forces an enemy to attack her regardless the distance. Of course, except for bosses. And it's expensive. It's like 35 SP. And increase the points that you gain. But filling a 2.0 just for that is actually pretty bad. You might as well put another damage unit or another support defender or maybe another healer, right?
Yeah.
So I would personally say that Tewi is actually one of the worst units in the game.
Yikes. Alright, should I put her in meme or I put her in D?
Or I'll probably put her a meme because if you're deploying her, you're just making your life miserable harder, especially on higher difficulties.
All right, race in 1.
Oh, Raisin 1. So she's actually like Pachi, like she's a long range unit, so a sniper. But like I mentioned earlier with Pachi, being a sniper unit does suffer that enemies can fight back, so they'll just try to avoid or defend, further reducing Raisin's attack. So Raisin has low base accuracy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
but she does have it's actually pretty low. But she does have a lot of spirits that improves her accuracy. But the problem is you're spending SP just to fix your accuracy, which is, ironically, you're a sniper, but you have horrible aim.
Yeah. If you don't have ignore distance, you actually take damage and you take accuracy penalties, which is, the whole point of a sniper, right? To hit from afar. Yeah. Not good.
So, it's kind of counterintuitive with her design. And using SP for her accuracy does mean that she may not be able to use her survivability SP, which is Flash. So, and even then, her damage is quite low if the attack does land. Joins rather late. She appears when you're gonna go to the moon. She rejoins with Lily. And even then, she's not even usable in the moon. Because she's a coward.
Yeah.
So,
you get it for 2 chapters, and then she's gone for 3. What the heck is that? God.
Yeah, it's so funny because I get to use Raisin, right? Then when she goes on board with the rocket, she just disappears for three chapters, which is so funny.
Yeah, what the heck? And
so,
the second chapter to which you only have 1 chapter to really make her kind of decent. 1 chapter to make her decent, right? Because the defend the rock chapter is infamously pretty hard. So you don't want to mess around and try and feed her kills too much, right?
Indeed.
So I kind of put her in C. I agree.
Put her C. So low damage. She has pretty good SP, but that's the reason she has pretty good SP because she's actually kind of underwhelming. Joins rather late, and when she joins, she still becomes unavailable. And even if you invest a lot, she's still in a questionable position, in my opinion, as a sniper unit.
Yeah. Speaking of major sniper ranges, Eren Yagakuro.
Another sniper. Oh man.
I think honestly for 3.5, I would put her into C because her damage is not very good for 3.5. There are a lot of other 3.5s who can hit harder, even 2.5s that hit harder.
Yeah, indeed.
So as a combat unit, I think she's a C. She's not like unusable. As a healer, I put C. Like there's reason being, like she is capable of like full healing someone, but if you're feeling 3.5 just to full heal someone, I don't know. That's a lot. You can resupply as well. Like she can do both heal and resupply, which is like I think only she can do. But unlike Koakuma, you can't. Unlike Koakuma, you can't move resupply, and that. So you need 4 turns to resupply 2 people, whereas Kokuma can do 4 people in 4 turns.
Yeah, which makes Eren really slow, like incredibly slow. Even though it's just a 2-turn difference, that difference can be really huge.
Yeah.
And as a healer, like if we're talking about MP, right? So for MP, she's slower. And in terms of a healer, she's more expensive than the Yusei, Misha, and Lily. So, putting her as a healer is questionable. Putting her as a combat unit is also questionable because she's a sniper unit. So everything that I said to Raisin and Patchouli applies to her. And, and she does have a unique trait, increased accuracy and crit rate. I think it's called... what is it called? I forgot.
I forgot what it's called.
It's a unique... Yeah, it's a unique trait. So, but, since I forgot, it's actually not impactful enough to make her a big difference.
Yeah.
So, C tier it is. Like, I can complete. And even she just joined late. She joins with Kaguya and Tewi, which is actually pretty late. And even then, it's actually not a good place for her to join. Yeah. It's not a good timing for her to shine.
Yeah. And speaking of Kaguya as well. Man,
so Kaguya.
Here's a decent 3.5 actually. I think she's good enough to be in B. I would not put her in C.
Yeah.
She's got quite a few personal skills. They all help too. They all help her depending on what you want to do. Her survivability, deceptively, is actually pretty high. She has guard, she has strike. She can like block, take a lot of damage. Pretty surprisingly, right?
Yeah, indeed.
But she's actually really helpful for Berserk Utsuho as well. Because she has the personal skill where you can put grit on every single frontline unit, right? Even for characters who don't naturally have grit.
Yeah, it's actually impactful. And if you don't want that, let's say, I don't want to use grit. I want to give like a heal just in case. Kaguya also does that.
Yeah.
She can heal all allies by I think it's 2,000 or 3,000 hit points, which is bigger than Bonds. I think Bonds is 2,000 to all units. Kaguya can do 3,000.
Yeah.
So that's actually very good.
Yeah.
And if you also don't want that, she can also restore MP to all allies. So Kaguya's supportive capabilities can adjust depending on what you want or what you need, which is incredible.
Her damage is okay. That's pretty much it. Yeah, her damage is kind of just okay.
I haven't really used her for combat. I only use her as a support unit.
Yeah. All right. Hakutaku Kane. This is where I would definitely drop it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of separating, like, the regular Kane from early game, first two games, right? And then Hakutaku Kane 3-4, games 3-4. I would definitely put it in B.
Oh, okay. So, the only grab with her is that she requires 130. Okay, 130 power is kind of okay for form changings. But the fact that I need to wait for that to field her when the normal Kane as well is falling off in the later stages of the game is kind of troublesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
And she's also eats a lot of MP. Like, you need Kawakuma to fuel her MP consumption so bad.
Yeah, it's, and she starts like taking a lot more damage too. The enemy scale is pretty high, so she starts taking a lot of damage. Even when she's like support defending and like using the wall spirit, kind of sucks.
Yeah, so at least when she was more of an offensive, she became an offensive unit, but in her defensive capabilities, while still present, it's basically still the same. The enemies kind of outscaled her, so she's basically fallen. Like, you can see her decrease in performance.
Yeah. Alright, let's talk about her friend though, Moko. Fujiwara no Moko. I'm gonna put both of them in B. I mean, they both have the same problem. Bad post movement, like attacks. She got the kick.
Yeah.
She's got the kick, and she's got like the one fire attack. That fire attack is really expensive. I think it by default is like 30 MP. It's really expensive.
I think it's 25. I think
25.
Yeah, it's
pretty expensive. Yeah.
And it's pretty bad. Like, it's actually pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not that great. The kick is 1-2 range, which is very bad. Her focus movement is 3. She's got 6 regular movement. Yeah, she chugs MP like crazy too. Her improved form doesn't fix anything. It just doubles down on her problems. But she does do a lot of damage. I will say that for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely sure. But she is also a glass cannon, so that is also worth mentioning. Because, it's Moko.
That's Moko.
And she does have a revive, which basically allows her to basically come back if she reaches critical health. But you do need to remember that if she gets defeated while doing an attack, the revive won't continue its attack. It would basically count as an end turn for Moko.
Yeah, so if an enemy counters, right? Like if they counter, because they have a counter skill and a killer, that attack, yeah, she doesn't get her attack off.
Yeah, she just basically consumed a revive. So you do keep note on that. She does hit a lot hard, but be sure to keep her safe as well.
Yeah. Okay, the Ayas.
Oh, the Aya. So I like Aya. She's actually one of my favorite Tengus.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think she does well in this game though.
Yeah, I don't think she's very good. I could probably say she's a very bad character in this game. So, how about you? What do you think about the regular Aya?
Regular Aya, I put her in D. I don't think she has very good post-movement attacks. Her first post-movement attack is a range attack. So her melee stat is actually higher than her range, right? But her post-movement attack uses the range stat, which is bad, right? That doesn't help.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that.
And then her second post-movement attack is her finisher, right? Which costs like 56 or 60 MP or something, right? Right? That one runs up for melee stat, but you're not going to use that for a regular enemy, right? If you do, you're going to run out of MP really quickly. That's pretty bad. And her damage, her damage is actually weaker than her boss's damage, like way weaker.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. She can focus like after moving, which is pretty cool. But that's not really helpful. That doesn't help her like for combat or anything. It's not impactful enough. She does have Tailwind, which gives Excel to a person. She can do it 2 times, and it's a pretty situational use. But I wouldn't say it's not game breaking enough to say that you absolutely need to field her for certain to win.
Yeah, that's definitely most of the time that you would probably just use Aya just to give Axel to a pair or to another unit, to be honest, because her damage performance is pretty bad, like you mentioned.
Yeah,
That's actually just how I use Aya. So completely not usable, not unusable, but but that's her only purpose. She basically has only one purpose in this game, and luckily for her, movement is quite important in this game. So it does salvage her a bit.
a little bit, yeah. But 2.5 for that is still kind of oof.
Yeah, it's still kind of to be
Alright.
fair.
And reporter mode, I don't think we're arguing, right?
Okay, so reporter mode is super bad. It is absolute. If we already mentioned that base Aya is bad, reporter mode is absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
So it basically trades all of her attack into one, which can remove Danmaku fields. So in this game, Danmaku fields can have effect. It hinders your movement and reduce your stats, or buff the enemy, right?
yeah.
But she could only remove the Danmaku fields of smaller enemies, and it's only temporary. The enemies can recast it if they want. And you can remove boss Danmaku for balance reasons. And you kind of want to remove the boss ones, because those are the most troublesome ones. But since she can't do that, there's kind of no point in fielding her. So I guess there's a few situations that you want to remove mobs Danmaku field, maybe on the moon.
Maybe, yeah, because some of them do. Well, I mean, you can't do Moon because she's not even there.
Yeah, she's not even there. So, the situation that you might find it really useful, she's not even there. So, pretty bad. Don't use this.
Yeah, pretty mean. Alright, Komachi Onozuka.
Oh, Komachi. Okay. So, she's a very interesting character. She has a very unique gimmick, which basically, the only gimmick that I basically use her was the infinity range. And it's, what do you think about her, How about you? Say your thoughts for her first, and maybe I'll follow.
Her combats are okay, but her defenses kind of stink. She takes a lot for someone like a mini super, basically, like someone who's supposed to have okay defenses. I don't think she's very tanky at all. She can hit things kind of decently, and she does have Daunt, so I definitely don't want to put into D. I either put her high C or low B. You use her for certain strategies, but I don't think she's great. Like, I don't think she's like amazing. I put her like low B, what I would say.
Low B. I was actually thinking of putting her on C, because the only time I find user for her was basically Dawn.
Yeah.
She does join early, so we're gonna give her credit for that. She joins when you're fighting the Aki sisters.
Yeah, she does join
Which
kind
is
of early.
which is quite early. But she's actually quite an underperformer there. In fact, sometimes the mobs will start beating her up if you didn't clear the mob
The
quickly.
her up.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And like you said, she's quite fragile. She doesn't have much survivability. And like I mentioned earlier, she does have an infinite range attack if you use it. Her next attack would be able to basically reach any enemies, but it still suffer from the range penalty, like we mentioned on snipers. So it's kind of really questionable if you're actually gonna use it. And if you do activate that, she has no post movement attack. It disables all forms of post movement. So it's either all in or nothing.
Yeah, I think she only do it once per map too. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, it's one for one. Terrible. So while she is good for Dawn, Dawn's strategies in this game are quite good. In fact, I could probably say it's even very powerful. So really can put her on D tier because of that. So I'm thinking of high C, probably middle C even, middle C or low B like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'll put her in low B just because like she does join really early, very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extra hands help in the early game.
Yeah, extra hands help. Speaking of availability, we got medicine.
Oh, medicine. She joins super late. That's for sure. It's like
okay, so her damage for 2.0 is okay. She does have the unique gimmick where she can ignore armor on a couple of her attacks, like on her attack, right? 2 attacks, I think. But I think it's not enough to really push her. Like, there's better 2.0s for sure. She's also the only character with double S size. The only character of double S. That means she's supposed to be really dodgy, but her attacks basically take like a 20% penalty because most of the enemies are, if they're not fairies or like bees, right? They're basically either her matchups are kind of poor because a lot of the enemies start getting bigger, like the Makai bugs, the giant ghosts as well. The regular ghosts, they're like M size, right? So she already takes a 20% penalty from most of the enemies who are M size. So if they're like large size too, they get the 30% penalty, 40% I think, so for even some of the enemies once you hit Makai. So her damage starts dropping drastically. So late joiner 2 doesn't help.
Yeah, and the time that she joins is actually the time that enemies will start using spirits. So even her evasiveness, her supposed to be her benefit, enemies will start casting strike to hit her. So it basically puts her in danger even.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her in C.
Yeah, C.
She's not unusable. Speaking of late joining though, we got Shikieki, Yamasanaru.
Oh, Aki. Another 3.5 unit. There's a lot of 3.5 units recently, huh?
Yeah, a lot of.
Okay, maybe.
Alright, where would you put her?
I probably put her on D tier straight off. Like I've used Aki. I brought her on NG Plus even, and I'll say she's a very underwhelming unit. What could you say?
Well, I mean, we are judging her just based on join time, right? You know, hard lunatic and
just
whatnot.
join time.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Though 3.5, not good enough to not really enough to take with you. She does have like the unique personal skill where she's above 50% accuracy.
It becomes
an auto hit, right? And vice versa if like it's lower than 50%. The problem is on hard mode and lunatic, again, when enemies start using spirits and when enemy accuracy and evasion is way higher, that actually works against her, so it's not helpful.
Yeah, that's very true.
And also, she does have like the rage skill, right? Pressure skill, I think it's called. It's freaking terrible.
Yeah, she has a spirit, which is actually, I think this is only unique to her. Yeah, unique to her.
No, I think Kane has it too. I believe Kane has it too.
Oh, Kane has it too.
Yeah,
wow.
Kane has it too. Not that you're gonna use it, but yeah.
Oh, that's true. So Aki has a spirit called range, like you mentioned. Kane has it too, but which basically does just 500 damage to all enemies. Just 500 damage, nothing more, nothing less, and it cannot kill. So if an enemy is below 500 HP, it basically leaves them at 1. It's a horrible spirit, one of the worst spirits in the game, and it's 70 SP. It's so expensive.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So at this point, Aki basically has 5 spirits. You don't really want to use Rage. It's horrible. Like even in early game, if you decide to bring her at NG+, it's still horrible. And at the time she joins, on the 4th game, it's so useless because the enemies have so much HP, like you mentioned on the medicine stage. Like enemies have not medicine stage, the medicine part earlier. Like enemies have so much HP that 500 damage is nothing.
Yeah. And and you don't have the SP. You don't even have the SP to really use it because you start with half SP, right? Half your maximum SP. And at 70 SP, yeah, like you might get one use of it off, and that's it. Your SP is gone.
Yeah, not really worth. Like she does have other useful SP, so that's actually pretty good. But Rage just existing does reduce her more potential SP because basically she only has 5 at that point. Unlike most characters, they have 6.
Yeah. Alright, Yuka Kazami.
Speaking of characters that joins very late,
Alright, I think for her specifically, I think I'm gonna have to make a new tier for her. I'm just gonna call it Doko.
Why Doko?
Because it means where. Because she's never around.
I mean, we really can blame her for that, or maybe we can because the story did decide to build on her.
Stupid developer! Look what you made us do. She's gone.
She's gone. You're the most powerful character.
Yeah, she's really strong. I think some people swear by her. That she's so powerful. She's really strong. That's great, right? But like her availability is so atrocious that like you can't even use her. Like she's basically impossible to kill. Like it's almost impossible to kill her when she's on your side. The problem is In Reimu, I think she only gets, five. You get 5 maps with Reimu. Yeah, you get 5 maps total with her with Reimu route, right? Yeah, 9
Yeah,
if you're Marisa route. That's it. 9 total. What the heck?
That is so little. Like you basically have no time to even invest in her if she's your favorite.
Yeah. It kind of stinks. Because she is really strong. All right.
Yeah, she is incredibly strong.
All right. Next is the Akyuu sisters.
Oh, very interesting duo.
All right.
So,
I kind of want to put Shizuo in A though. Really good.
Yeah, she does very good. She does. I won't say she joins early. Does she join early?
Nah, I wouldn't say she joins. She joins like basically before Perfect Cherry Blossom.
Quite early.
Yeah, so not too bad.
Not too bad. And she does have the very important attune. I think she does.
Yeah, she has a tune. She's technically the earliest character who can get a tune.
Yeah, so he has a very important attune which gives 100% accuracy to an ally, which is very important in higher difficulties such as hard or lunatic because enemies are quite evasive. And she can also give 10 power to a unit, which is also very good because, like we mentioned earlier with Merlin and Mistia, giving power is incredibly good in this game.
Yeah. Also, she has the personal skill where like if she hits somebody, they don't gain power, right? If you use it on bosses, it's really helpful actually.
Yeah, and combined with Dawn's strategy, that boss is basically a freezing duck.
Yeah. All right. Her sister, on the other hand, I gotta put her B. I don't think she has as good as skills, especially spirits in terms of it. But that doesn't mean she's bad. I think she's like pretty good.
Yeah, I use Minariko a lot. Like, I actually like her. Like, I personally use her more than Shizuha, but I can definitely see the reason why she's lower than her. Yeah. Because she does give free SP item with her personal ability. It's after you finish a stage, right? It's 100% guarantee.
Yeah, 20 SP.
And SP recovering items are super good in this game since some spirits are very expensive or you want to use them multiple times in a single turn, like Yuyuko's Rally or probably Mistia's Valor to increase her music song buff. But even then, the problem with that is you do need to finish a stage, so it takes a while before you get a lot to start using.
Yeah, but it's good. It's worth doing for sure, especially on higher difficulties.
Yeah, worth doing in early game. And once you get enough, you could basically swap to her other personal ability that increases the effectiveness of the items she got and other fruit SP or vegetable SP from 20 to 30. That's a very noticeable amount.
Yeah, it's very noticeable. All right, Hina.
Oh, Hina. What do you think of Hina? I would say she's a very interesting unit.
I think, man, her personal skills kind of stink. They're too hard to set up. She does have support defend. I kind of don't know why. But if you support defend with her, I think like 2 or 3 hits and she's donezo.
Donezo.
Her attack. What's up?
No, continue. I'll say after you're done.
No. I don't really have more to add. Anything more important.
So I actually think Hina is like you mentioned, she has support defend, which is kind of questionable. She's not super tanky. She's like as beefy as Momiji, which we'll talk about later, or probably as beefy as Mei Ling for sure, or even Rumia. But the thing about Hina is she does have a personal ability that allows the attacker to crit, which is very awkward to set up too. But if you manage to set it up properly, it is a very good damage increase since crits are 20% more damage, right?
Yeah.
Crits are 20% more damage. But the only problem with her is it's not only that she's very hard to use. The game is kind of unsure on how you will even use Hina. Like, she has support defend, and she has an ability that allows her to support defend too later on. She unlocks that spirit. But then the game suddenly shows that, she has offensive abilities too, so you want to build her like that. So it kind of makes a very weird decision on how will you use it. Do you want her to support? Do you want her to defend? Or do you want to build her as a combat unit? She's very conflicting.
Yeah.
That's why I said she's a very unique unit in a sense that I'm quite unsure on how I'll personally build her.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you invest in it, maybe she's potentially very good. But I haven't reached that point, so I can't say for sure.
I'll put her in C for now. She's kind of awkward to use unless you know how to build her well.
Yeah, I guess C tier is fine.
Yeah. Oh, Nitori. No questions,
Oh.
right? No.
Yeah, free upgraded Nitori is A tier.
Yeah, I put Nitori in A tier, and I put the other Nitori in B. She has heal. Basically, without Nitori, Marisa's dead. No questions asked.
No question asked.
Yeah, no questions asked. She has great when she support attacking. She has great accuracy, especially early on. She can support defend. She comes to level 2 in both support attack and support defend. That's actually incredible. She gets plus 30. She gets plus 30% accuracy to both of those if you equip the personal skill, which you need to kind of early to help solve accuracy issues. She comes with scan. She comes with eventually comes with guard, and she gets focus. These are really good skills. Really good spirits.
Oh, yeah, very good.
She also can feed SP items. She's one of like two or three characters that can feed SP items, like feed items. She's really, really good. You can do some ridiculous strategies with Nitori. She's like almost a centerpiece. Without her, the strategies don't exist.
Yeah, that's very good. In fact, just the ability to feed items to other characters is actually incredibly strong because it does scales on what items you unlock. And like I mentioned earlier, you could even get more with Minoriko.
Yeah.
So she's actually very strong. You get her early, so you're definitely not gonna ignore that.
Yeah. I would say the only reason I put the full auto version B is because she can't attack. It's oriented around a little bit more survivability. Like she gets optic camouflage, but that's like whatever.
Yeah, you kind of don't need that for her. To be honest, if you're building her support.
Yeah, just build her support. This was way better.
Yeah, it's not like she can dodge when she support defense. If she can, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. All right, Momiji.
Momiji.
All
very
tank.
tanky.
Yeah, I was honestly great tank, but her base HP is terrible. If she doesn't shield defend, she takes a crap ton of damage. But there's also her personal skills are pretty good too. That's the problem. Like she doesn't have enough. For me, she's like has no damage. She's great tank, except her base HP is kind of low. But like I said, no damage. I think like one of her best personal skills, she gives +1 range to both her front unit and herself. Right? It's really good actually.
Yeah, she grants it also nearly at the start of the game. Just 105 power is required, which you could basically do with rally.
Yeah, I mean that's not hard. The only problem is, like I said, just no damage.
Yeah, no damage. Like and her super and her finisher, or rather super move, it's so much MP. Like it's so expensive.
Drain MP like crazy on her.
Yeah, and it doesn't even do a lot of damage. Yeah, of course it's very strong. It's her finisher move, but still compared to other units, it's very low.
Yeah, I'd say C. I don't think she has a lot of money for her.
Yeah, C.
All right, Sane.
Oh, Sane.
Okay. So, since Sane is here, I would say base Sane is not very good. I put her in B. She's like usable, but she's not great. But once you get these two modes, though, I instant A.
Yeah, she becomes absurd.
Way better.
Yeah, she has a unique mechanic too, which is the fate system. Every time Sane basically do anything, like even breathe air, she basically gets one fate. No, she doesn't need to move that. Even moving, she gets fate. And Sane's power basically scale with fate along with her bar, which is very good if you build it up. But the problem is getting it to the amount that requires to make her really good. That's the only problem I have with her.
Yeah, the setup is really irritating. But if you do, it's absolutely absurd what you can do.
Yeah. Especially in I think it's Sky mode.
Yeah, Sky mode. Earth mode is a lot better for the majority of the game. But once you get the map on Sky mode, you can definitely just run the game over. Like she can solo maps. That's not an exaggeration.
She actually destroys bosses.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to her friendos. Kanako. I'm gonna put her in C. Same problem as the snipers. 3.5 sniper.
Wait, she's a sniper?
Yeah, her range is kind of high actually. 3.5.
Oh.
Yeah, her range is kind of decent, but like she suffers the problem of like sniper units, right? On higher difficulties. She is pretty bulky though. I would say that. She's pretty bulky. She's not likely to die. But you're a sniper, you kind of stink in this game. The game just does not treat snipers well. If you're fielding her, if you're fielding here, you're basically just there to help. You're basically there just to make Sane better, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But like you said, I think her only upside, to be honest, is quite sturdy. But you don't really wanna put a 3.5 support defender. It's basically like the issue with Alien. You don't really wanna put a 3.5 healer because there's a lot of cheaper units that can definitely do better.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're just fielding her for Sane, and even then 3.5 is a bit questionable.
Yeah. Like basically, if you're not using Sane, you don't need to use Kanako at all. If you are using Sane, then you probably want to use her.
Yeah, but the problem is there's a better choice.
Yeah, there's a much better
for
choice.
Their choice.
Any contest here?
Nope, absolutely not, because she's the better choice than Kanako.
Yeah, poor Kanako. Yeah, Suwako, she's pretty broken. I don't know how, but they actually. So she used to be really weak. Then she got buffed in this game. So yeah, she's really strong. She's so tanky. She's ridiculously tanky. She takes half damage in terrains that she has S rank on, which she has 2. She has water and she has earth. But you can give her an item that gives her S rank in air, right? It just makes her insane. And then she doesn't have like strike, but she's really dodgy too. And she has focus. She has focus. She's really dodgy. And even if you don't dodge, she takes a hit. She's not likely to die. She's actually even tankier than some tank units. She's actually tankier than Momiji. What the heck?
Oh yeah, that's definitely
pretty accurate, right? She's actually tankier than Momiji with the shield. Well, she has a shield. Suwako, you could actually build Suwako support defend, and it's actually viable. Like you could do that.
Yeah, another important thing to note too at Suwako is that she has an attack that increases the damage taken by enemies by 10%.
Yeah, the damage delta target by 10%. Yeah, it's really strong too.
Really good. So when we mentioned Kanako earlier, like she's underwhelming, right? But when we mentioned Suwako, man, Suwako's so good. You really want to use her.
Yeah.
Even without Sane, to be honest.
Yeah, even without Sane, she's a very, very good unit. Her damage will never like be super high or anything, but that's fine because she makes everybody else stronger.
Yeah, and she can also help people from survive. Like she could keep the damage-oriented one safe by just defending for them as well.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Iku Nage.
Iku.
This is where like we start seeing like a lot more availability problems. Like unless they're super amazing, we probably can't put them any higher than like a B. Iku, I do have experience using her, but I mean, do you have anything to say for Iku?
Yeah. Actually, the moment I got Iku in all of the difficulties I played, basically normal plus, hard, and lunatic, I always use Iku. She's one of my favorite characters. And I find her pretty strong. Like, she's actually really strong because she starts with a personal ability that allows her to support, defend, and attack with 3 range. You don't need to be adjacent. You just need to be within 3 range of Iku, which gives her flexibility in positioning.
Yeah, basically. And all her support attacks are criticals, too. They automatically crit.
Yeah, they crit a lot. And she also has scan. So if you're fielding someone... If you're not fielding someone that has a scan, which you probably are because Nito exists.
Yeah, you probably are.
But still, she has scan if Nito doesn't have SP because Nito healed someone or something. Iku also has that. Iku also has, I think she also has strike, right? Which basically allows her to land her critical hits, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. So I could say Iku is a very solid unit. The only downside is she appears so late as well. Like you mentioned, this is the part of the game where we're gonna start talking about availability. Like, while I did say Iku is good, is she better than the other? A lot better than the units I've unlocked before? Probably not.
Yeah, but she is good. Not like amazing, but she's good. And for that, I want to put her as B. We still have more A tier characters than we do like everybody else. All right. Tenchi. I have used Tenchi.
Yeah, I use her too.
Yeah. So she's basically like another tank for you, but actually does damage. It's very difficult to kill her, and she can full heal herself as well. And she has guard, like cheap guard.
Yeah, I think it's 15 SP.
Yeah, it's 15 SP with the personal skill. Yeah, that's actually amazing because guard is usually 25.
Yeah, saving 10 SP is huge.
Yeah, 15 SP. Yeah, so she's not likely to die. Her damage does decent damage. Her finishers are actually reliable too. Like, she has an ammo finisher and she has an MP finisher, so you can use both, and it's totally okay. She does chug MP though, which she does chug MP, but MP save helps a lot. And at that point in the game, MP is not as big as an issue because you have really good ways to help restore MP, so it's not as big as a problem.
Yep, true.
I would put her in B. I think she's respectable. You can use her in hard, and she won't like fail you.
Yeah, and also she also just joined shortly after Iku, so in terms of availability, they're not really that far.
They're not that far, yeah. And Iku helps Tenchi a lot too. Like, if Tenchi's like a little bit too slow, you can use Iku's Excel. It's actually pretty helpful.
Oh yeah, Iku also has that. Yeah, very helpful.
Yeah, they have friendship with each other, so they have a level 2, I believe. All right, next is Kisume, Bucket Girl. One of my favorite has one of my favorite stage 1 themes. I have tried her. I have used her. Like the rest, like the chapters that were absolutely possible to feel there. I kind of find that she has the same problem as Momiji.
Oh, I see. I personally don't use her. I actually never use her outside in the stage that she joins. I think she joins in 2 stages. That's the only time I use her, and even then, most of the time it's my Yamame doing the job.
Got it. Yeah.
So I can't really say much.
Got you. Yeah. She's got she's got different personal skills. She can either increase her armor to heck and back, but armor has diminishing returns in this game, so that's actually not as good as I think people think it is. She can get a ton of support defense, but honestly, getting more than like 3 is kind of overkill. Or she can increase her support defense, I believe. Increase her shield defense, which is probably like better. She's basically unkillable. Like, her wooden bucket is honestly just made of titanium, but and she is cheap. Like, she has like a low cost. She's like 2.0, 2.5.
I think she's 2.0.
I think she's 2.0, but she's 2.0, but I mean, does no damage. Kind of the same problem as like Momiji, just does no damage.
Oh.
All defend, but no damage. And in the game where like damage is so important, because you need to make sure that enemy spell cards don't last a while, right? Because this is where enemy spell cards are getting really dangerous. You don't want them to stick around. So yeah, I'd put her in C.
C tier. Yeah, it makes sense because you did mention she's basically like Momiji, and I think the problem, and even then she does appear way later.
Yeah.
But she's definitely not D tier. You know, the gap between C and D is still pretty big.
Yeah. Alright, Yamame.
Yamame. Okay, so this is the unit that I did mention, like that I use often when they're force deployed together, and I think Yamame has pretty good damage. You know, definitely not something you could ignore. It's not top tier as well for sure, but that's really about what I can say. She does have a special ability special ability that allows you to move a unit 5 range towards her, which is useful for moving stuff, especially if they're far away. But in the stages that she joins, it's actually not required, so I didn't really get to use it much. But I personally think that you could do a lot of goofy stuff with it.
Yeah, you can do quite a bit of stuff with it. I wouldn't say it's mandatory to succeed. And once again, late joiner kind of hurts. So if you're not amazing at something at this point, like you're pretty eh. Her damage is like pretty decent though. I put it in C.
Alright, that's fine.
Essay crew. Parsi. Ooh, people.
Parsi. So people's favorite. Like you were gonna say that too.
Yeah, people swear by this character. They really do.
So yeah, they really do. So I've heard a lot of people say she's S tier material, you know, like, oh my god, so Parsi is probably on the same level as Raimu, Marisa, Misja. So, you know, that's very interesting to know. But personally, I haven't used Parsi a lot. Basically, like Yamame and Kisume and her partner Yugi, I've only used them when they're deployed. So I really can't say much. But I could definitely say that Parsi has very good damage because of the personal ability she comes with, where it scales based on her damage basically scales depending on the abilities that the enemy has, which is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it caps at 44%. She actually hits hard. She actually hits harder than 3.5, right? That's like not actually an exaggeration. So I think it's really weird how we say like damage is king, and then like I'm not gonna put Parsley into like A or S, right? It feels a little bit strange and it feels a little contradictory, but her survivability to make you set damage is not there. Like Moko actually does like a lot of damage too, probably not as hard as Parsley, but like but at least she has like at least she can revive when she dies, right? Like she can help survive. The problem is once Parsley runs out of SP, like I think she has intuition.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she has intuition, but intuition is really expensive. That's 25, right?
Yep.
Per attack, and she's not dodgy. Like she actually is not very evasive at all. She's gonna get hit a lot. So she's likely to die in like 2 or 3 hits pretty easily. And if it's a boss and it's a strong boss too, it's probably a one shot. If you're not using intuition.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine that.
Right, and against Mooks as well. Mooks, I think, in hard mode might maybe have 2 or 3 skills, which is like I think 20%. It's not bad, but not like phenomenal either.
So where would you personally put her?
I put her in B.
So,
I have to take her availability into account as well. You can't really break Parsley. Parsley is already pretty strong as it is, though. I can't rate it any higher, but I can't rate it any lower, if that makes sense. She does a lot of damage for sure, though. Like out of everybody here, like in B tier, she probably does the most damage. All right. Next is Yugi, who is basically better Suika.
Super tanky.
Yeah, she's super tanky, cheaper Suika too. I put her in B. Good personal skills, decent damage, easier to make more powerful than Suika in the start. Like if you haven't used Suika and then Yugi comes along, Yugi's almost always gonna be better.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I can see that.
All right, next is Satori. Now we're zooming. Satori, gosh, what a unit.
Very good. Very interesting unit as well.
Yeah.
She has okay.
Well,
what do you think would be her tier?
I would put her in B. She's one of the best attune units in the entire game for sure. Too bad you don't get to use that attune until like literally middle of the 4th game.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, but her attune is like the best attune. Her damage isn't all there at all, but her survivability is absolutely insane. She gets a free alert per turn, which helps her survivability so much. And then feeling a unit just for attune itself, that's actually totally okay. That's how powerful attune is in this game.
And just giving someone 100% accuracy, especially if that unit can't do that. What are the example of those units? Like, let's say Moko. No, does Moko have one?
No,
yeah,
Moko doesn't Moko doesn't have strike.
Oh, doesn't have strike. So like Moko. And there's actually other characters, like maybe if future characters we're gonna talk about, some of them don't really have attune.
Yeah, they don't have.
So just feeling Satori for it is really good. And like you mentioned, she is the best because her attune can get an upgrade with a personal ability that affects both pair. So you're basically giving attune to 2 units. So even if that other unit can cast strike or attune to herself, you're basically saving SP for other abilities, which is super huge.
Yeah,
you're saving 20 SP.
You're saving 20 SP, affects both characters. Yeah, it's pretty impactful. Like, it's so helpful.
Yeah. But the only problem is she joins late, and you get that ability later even. So that's the only problem that I have for her.
Alright. Rin. I'm gonna put her in B. Kind of the same thing. Joins late, but she does have the give item, and that's always good. Oh, she has devotion too, so she can actually give extra MP.
Yeah,
she's pretty good. Her combat's okay, like okay to decent. Most people like her utility is pretty good though. Like being able to feed items in this game is just so important, and for that I put her in B just for that.
Anyway, so what do you think about cat mode? Because I don't really use cat mode. I only just use normal order.
You basically use that to move very fast. It's very, like,
really?
She gets like 8 movement. Actually,
oh yeah, that's 16.
Yeah. All right.
Can she still feed items while in cat mode? I'm not really sure.
No, she can't.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next is Utsuho.
So the final boss, one of the final bosses in SA. So
Yeah.
what do you think of Utsuho? Like, I actually think she's really strong.
She's really strong. Such high damage. And she has MP regen, too. Like, she can actually get MP regen. So, her attacks are basically not, like, free, right? But you don't have to worry about her MP a lot unless she keeps getting attacked, which is totally fine as well.
Yeah.
She has 15 SP grit, 15 SP strike. Jesus.
That is so cheap.
Yeah. Her attacks hit hard, too. It doesn't even matter if she's not even that accurate. 15 SP strike is insane. Strike by average is 20 SP. 5, reducing by 5 is actually kind of a big deal. I put her in B. Kind of the same problem, just not high enough availability to really push her to the top. But her damage is very high. Like, comparable to Moko's. And her MP cost is cheaper because she has MP regen.
Yeah, and also like Sunny, she has a unique system, which is the hit gauge. Basically, if the player activates it, she gains two new attacks, I think, and basically improves her capabilities. But it does have a drawback, which we'll talk about now.
Now, actually, cooldown Utsuho. Where would you put her?
Yeah, definitely meme tier. So if Utsuho decides to blow herself up, why would you do that? I don't know. Or the hit gauge goes super high. You didn't clear the stage fast enough. Utsuho basically enters cooldown mode. Cooldown mode is a very horrible unit. It's 1.0 it basically has a 1.0 cost deployment, one of the cheapest in the game. But to compensate it, it's also one of the worst units. Like, she has no damage, and when she enters this mode, she basically also has no HP, so she's a liability.
Yeah, I kind of basically I agree. And her attacks are amazing in that the animations are really funny, but that's pretty much all she's got going for her.
Yeah, this is basically a punishment if you don't use Utsuho properly.
Yeah, if you like cap her heat gauge because you use too many of her attacks. Alright, next is Koichi.
Gotta keep that in mind. Alright, Kumishi is Satoru's little sister. She's also unique, you know. Like I said, Satoru's unique in a way because she can cast alert every turn. So Koichi this time can cast any spirit every turn, which is kind of insane. It's a personal ability for sure.
I think it's a little bit too RNG to rely on that, but she does come with Daunt. She does come with Daunt.
Yep.
Daunt's always good, so I don't want to put. I have late availability. Her damage isn't that good. She's a 2.5.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much. I feel like if you're not feeling Satori, there's almost no point feeling Koichi. Because unless you're just literally using her for Daunt strats. Like, if you're using it from combat, you need the two.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, their damage is kind of bad. The only attack that does really good damage is their combination attack. But you do need both of them, so that would become a 5.0 unit for just pure damage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of questionable. So it's either deploy one for a strategy or deploy both for the strategy and the damage. But it becomes expensive.
Yeah, it gets kind of expensive. Alright, I'm going to put her in C. Also, the availability doesn't help her. Join's really late.
Join's really late.
Nasrin.
Oh, the mouse. So a little thing about Nazrin too, like another character that I don't actually use often, and I just decided to start using her way later at the game. Actually, not like the others. Like, I only decided to start using Nazrin in the late stages of the game, rather than very very early, which is ironic because she joins early, right?
Yeah, she joins kind of early, like in the middle of PCB. I would still consider that kind of early.
So what do you think of her early performance? Did you use her at the early stages of the game?
Yeah, she's actually pretty usable in the early stages of the game. Her damage is pretty much once you hit the third game though, her damage is pretty atrocious. She'll basically almost never hit above 5,000. You're honestly lucky if she hits about 4,000 to 5,000. However, like Suwako, she's one of the very, very few characters, like 2 characters, that is able to give the 10% extra damage taken to enemies that she hits. That's very important.
Oh yeah. Yep, it's a personal ability if I recall correctly.
Yeah. The only problem is no strike. You kind of just relying on RG to hope that she hits and using focus. She can use alert. She has alert and focus, but no strike. So by virtue of like that, I'm gonna put her in C.
Oh,
most
that's it.
important.
I can understand. But in later stages of the game, like you mentioned, she just fall off really hard.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that would be carrying her would be Shu, because I use them together, and Shu's very good.
Yeah. Shows.
And yeah, and Pagoda doesn't really change a lot for her. It doesn't really fix most of her problems as well. I don't think it actually fixes anything.
Not really. Alright.
So yeah, that I completely agree with what you said.
All right, Kogasa.
Ooh. If it's not obvious, she's my favorite character.
Yeah. Hey, look, I put one of my favorite characters in C tier. You gotta be fair here, okay?
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. Can be objective. So, Kogasa. In terms of availability, she joins quite late. Like,
Yeah.
all of the following characters are basically joining late, or characters that join early but just really way behind the series. So, but the interesting thing about Kogasa is she's actually a pretty good backpack character slash support. Like, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. Guitar Step's really good.
Yeah, so while being late to join, she actually provides 3 inventory slots, and the ability that you mentioned gives the pair 10% damage taken reduction from damage taken and 10% bonus damage. So you're basically having Hatate's Hermit Purple all the time,
Yeah.
or maybe, which is really good, while also reducing their damage by the damage taken by 10%, which could be impactful for hard hitters.
Yeah. And she's 2.0. It's really important.
2.1 is very cheap.
Yeah. Great support defender, too. She's actually a pretty good support defender. She has guard.
Yeah.
And she can shield defend. It's really good. Yeah, I put her in B. I think it's fair.
Yeah, beater. Like, she's very simple to use, and depending on how you use her, you can easily see the result with almost no setup. You just need to remember what she does.
Alright. Ichirin. Now, I understand that most of the UFO crew don't have like a lot of experience except for like a couple of characters, so I'll take over. Yeah. So Ichirin and her faithful companion, Old Man. Hey, quiet you. She's probably like the most basic. She's pretty tanky. Like she does okay damage, and that's pretty much all she's got going for her. She does have like 2 sets of spirit, and she does have Buddhist, which is like pretty good. But I wouldn't say she's like tanky enough to match like Tenchi, and their availability is not that far apart. I'm gonna put it in C. Her damage is okay. She does a Buddhist, like I said, right? But like I think Tenchi's just better. Even though she has like 2 sets of spirits. Murasa, on the other hand, as Murasa is a boat captain, I'm just gonna put her in B as well. Murasa's pretty respectable. She can take a couple of hits because she has like grit. She has strike, has pretty good abilities. The only problem is like her as a boat captain. The boat has a lot of range attacks, and her melee stat is better. But as a field unit, I think she's better as a field unit, unless you need to protect her ship. In which case you want to put her back as a boat captain, just so you have like grit, because grit's really good. But she does decent damage. Like you could totally use her on hard mode, and she does respectable damage. Like on average, she'll probably hit 5 to 7k. Yeah, pretty good. And she has S rank water, which is pretty rare. All right, now your turn. Yeah, we have Joe here.
Oh yeah, so Shu. So this is one of the wins I mentioned that I use quite later in the game. So Shu is actually incredibly good. Like she's super tanky. She has grit, and she also has strike. So basically, you have 2 things that fixes accuracy and survivability already, right? And she has a personal ability that while she's super tanky, you could double down on being a tank, or if you want, you could increase her damage by, I think at 130 power, she gets 10% more damage.
I think it's 120 actually. It's 120.
Oh, 120 even. Better than I remember. Or you could improve her attack, which is the spear stab one, by 1 range and 300 attack, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So, she's...
Yeah, it's, I agree. It's a pretty respectable unit. I put her in B. Any disagreements there?
No, not really. So I get Pagoda doesn't really change her a lot. She's good. With Pagoda, she's still very good.
Yeah. Byakuren.
Oh,
the
Byakuren.
leader.
So this is definitely don't have much experience on her.
I do. I've used her on hard and I've used her on Lunatic. She's one of the best support attackers in the game if she could get the PP required. And at this point in the game, she's getting PP required is pretty difficult because she's such an elite. But her stats are absolutely incredible, and she'll basically just wreck base with it. I can't really put her higher than a B, but man, she hits hard, and she's really tanky too. She actually has 2 different sets of spirits because she has a transformation. But all her attacks except for like only one attack runs off her primary stat, melee. Unlike like poor Aya.
Oh my god.
Yeah, poor Aya. Like even though her attack looks like it's a range attack, it actually runs off the melee stat, which is like ridiculous. Her finishers hit really hard. She does chug through MP pretty quickly though. The only problem is like she chugs through MP pretty quickly, but yeah, it's pretty much well worth. And at this point in the game, when you get her, there's a lot of ways to restore MP. She makes a pretty strong opening. Alright, Due, got any experience with her?
I don't actually use her much, to be honest. Like, I did try to use her, but I think the only thing I could say with her is just like, you know, most units I've used, she does have good damage. But I didn't personally play around with her forms. I do know that she has 3 forms, or I think, 3 forms. But I didn't really play around those, so I could just say she has good damage.
Yeah, 2.5 for 3 different forms. It's pretty good. Tanky form, average form, like moderate form, and then like fast form, right? Pretty good. She also comes with the ever so good confuse skill, spirit. Reduces enemy final accuracy to 50%. Pretty good.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember.
Really dodgy too. In her blue form, she's really dodgy. If you need her to tank a little bit, like if you're predicting like a lot of upcoming damage, you can totally go green mode as well. Swap to green mode and like sit in front. And she probably won't die. Respectable damage as well. She actually she does run off the MP stat for her finisher, but a lot of her attacks have ammo. She actually kind of falls a little bit with like Reimu. Her basic attack, like basic regular attack, you probably use like 10 MP. Not a lot. Other attacks have like ammo, like 6. I think she has like 6 ammo, which is very respectable.
I mean, you could fix it with a generic skill. I think it's called the ammo save.
Ammo save, yeah, that's pretty good.
So that's pretty good on her. So not a big issue.
Yeah, same problem though. I can't put her any higher because she joins kind of late, but she's good for sure.
Yeah,
Alright,
definitely.
the robot.
The robot. No, wait. You're supposed to say Hisoutensoku.
Hisoutensoku. Oh, come on, I'm just memeing on him. He's pretty good actually. Like I wouldn't say he's like super great lunatic worthy or anything, but he's above average for sure. The only problem is like he joins late. He gets even at level 1, he gets 3 pretty good spirits that fix all his problems. Number 1, he's really beefy. For all that beef though, he only has like 5 base movement. I think like 3 focus, but he has Excel, so that's okay.
Yeah, just 5 too.
He has Excel, so who cares? He also has Strike, which is really good. So that also fixes any accuracy issues you might have. And if he's not tanky enough, he already has really high base health and armor. He has a wall, so he's even tankier.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, pretty much it just fixes all of his issues. His attacks do have a range of like ammo and MP, so he's unlikely to run out of resources. I'm gonna put it in.
Yeah, the only downside is it joins very late, like very late on the last chapter, nearly on the last chapter.
Yeah, some of the last chapter, like 4 or 5 chapters before the end game, basically. Like,
yeah, he's very close to Yuka.
Yeah.
Very close to Yuka.
Yeah, chapter 72. It's pretty late. Alright, Hatate.
Oh, so Hatate. So she's a very interesting unit that I could say is good, but only for the reason that of her Hermit Purple, which is a 10% increased damage taken to an enemy. That's the only reason I use her.
Alright.
And even then, I could say she's pretty good for that job.
Alright. Her combat's okay. She actually has like insane focus. I think she has like 6, which is ridiculous. 6 focus movement, it's almost unheard of, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 7 base, like 7 unfocused movement as well. She actually has very high movement. My only problem with her attacks are so MP heavy, that it just drains her MP so quickly. She has a combo attack with Aya, but I mean it's Aya, so it's kind of hard. That's kind of a hard sell.
That's very hard to do.
That's a pretty hard sell. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All I can really say for her. Her attacks are kind of respectable, but like, as she joins basically near the beginning of Imperishable Night, joins with Reimu. That's pretty much all I can say for her. Honestly, her best use is basically just her.
Yeah, definitely. And I think she's 2.0, right? Or 2.5.
2.5.
2.5. So a bit expensive, but if you have if you have spare slots, you could definitely field her just for that 10% more damage. It helps against bosses.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, you're fielding her for the 10% extra damage, and it's pretty convenient because it's a point and click and use. You don't have to attack.
Yeah.
Alright, Mima.
Oh, Mima. So another character that joins in IN and disappears in existence. I mean, for a few chapters.
Existence, huh? Just like her kin counterparts, gone.
Yeah, like her partner in Grime. Hey, I mean, I'm not lying.
That's true.
So the thing about Mima is, she is incredibly powerful, like Yuka for sure.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to kill her.
Yeah,
you have to actively try to get Mima killed.
Yeah, definitely. And the good thing about that is, she just joined a lot earlier than Yuka as well. So she's basically not on the Yuka tier of Doko.
But that doesn't make her availability much better.
Yeah, not really much better. So the thing that's going for her is she has a very good two unique generic spirits. She has Magician level 9, which is I think she's the only one that can get to Magician level 9 along with Jacqueline, right?
Yeah.
Which makes her incredibly tanky with her barrier. And she also has Extreme, which further reduces the damage she can take by 20%, which is absurd.
Yeah, that's stacks with other generic skills too, like Guard.
Yes.
So she's actually pretty tanky. If you decide, you can literally just decide, I'm gonna just guard all these attacks, and it'll literally takes zero damage. Actually, insane.
It's very insane.
Yeah, she hits fairly hard. She needs hit and run for sure. She does hit really hard. She chugs SP like crazy though. Like you need She doesn't survive without SP, but she's really strong when she does. And by that respect, I'm gonna put her in B. I can't put her in A.
Yeah, I think B there is fun. Kind of like we mentioned, she is very close to Jacqueline in terms of beefiness. Both hit hard. The only downside would be for her would be being SP hungry and availability.
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
Next up.
Hey, look, there's a lot of B tier characters.
Yeah, now we have a lot more B tier characters. All right, next is Kurumi.
Oh, Kurumi. I like this character.
All right, I think this is where we differ.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about the Kurumi?
Your combat's non-existent. Her base HP is low. 1 hit or 2 hits maybe, and she's dead without like any upgrades. Which I mean, you can't upgrade her, right? But I mean, let's upgrade going to her. That you probably could have just used someone else.
Okay, that's definitely true. I'm not gonna deny that.
Okay, her only survival tool is Intuition, 25 SP. How can you justify that? And her damage is like whatever. Her damage is non-existent.
Hey, I mean, so the thing about her, she is very weak in early. Like, she's very, very weak in early. I'm not denying that. But she also does come with a personal ability that prevents an enemy from defending or evading if it lands. So you can basically combine it with Intuition, and that boss would be literally taking every single hit you could do unless they have Grit, which you could only spend 1 attack to bait it, to consume it. So I could say she is very fragile in early, but as a fragile support unit, she definitely makes a lot of boss fights easier. And I think she's she is one of the 2 characters that also has Hope, which is able to restore SP to another ally. She does get it incredibly late, like you need to funnel her kills, like Lyrica. I think she gets it level 75 I think it's 65 or 75.
She gets a level 60.
Oh, level 60 even. Quite lower than what I remember. So yeah, well, she's very bad at combat for sure. And her survivability is very limited, being tied into Intuition. You could just have someone guard her, maybe like Rumia in the early game, or put her beside Mei Ling. Then put her near and land I think it's called Black Sabbath. That basically ignores evasion and defending from the enemy. And it really helps. It lasts for 1 entire turn, not just 1 attack. So I would definitely put her high, like maybe low B tier as a support unit, because she is very weak early.
Yeah. I personally put her in high C or low B, but I'm fine with putting her low B as well, if at least for hope. Alright, Ellie.
If she gets self early, that would be really good.
Ellie. Okay attack. Decent damage. Yeah, decent damage. Okay defenses. Not like Mei-Ling level defense, but I mean, who can compare to Mei-Ling anyway?
I mean, Mei-Ling's kind of cheating.
But you get them around the same, like, you literally get them around the same time, though. So, I mean, you're doing a direct comparison, right? Like, if you had to pick between Ellie, right, and Mei-Ling, who you use?
Oh, it's fine too because you also fight them at the same time.
Yeah. Trying to think. I put her in C. She does
I
have
would say it's fine.
she does have a really good personal skill later on, but I mean, she gets it late. That means you're basically ignoring her second game and third game performance. Isn't that good? There are a couple niche cases where you can use for her, where you can use her tile, her trap tile, right, to freeze an enemy so they don't move, right? It's really good on some bosses who get passed. But that's pretty situational, and you can win without it.
Yeah, I can understand. Also, she has a. I'm not unsure on how you're supposed to build her at early game because she does have a personal ability that causes her to crit, and just adjacent to an enemy.
That's true. Yeah, it does help. It does help in damage.
Yeah, it helps in damage, but the thing is, you kind of want to defend with her as well. So you're supposed to put her beside a unit that's gonna get attacked. So it's maybe it's just a slight bonus in case she's adjacent to enemy while defending. But there's probably better spirits to help in defending.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Yumeko. It's Sakuya 2.0. Sakuya 2.0 without the availability. Man, her personal skills are insane. Like, really good. Oh my god. Re-attack. The same thing as Satara step again. Just Jesus. And she hits hard.
And she also has Kamikaze Maid, which basically grants like 3 useful spirits at the start of the sortie, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't put it any lower than B. I definitely would use her over the C characters. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even though she appears late, because she is very powerful the time that she joins.
Yeah. Speaking of late availability.
Oh, Shinki.
Yeah, I like Shinki a lot. I can't put her higher. I personally can't put her higher than B, but I can totally see her being like low A. But like she gets attuned, right? And we espouse attune, but you can't even use that attune like for the majority of the game.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah, it sucks. But man, she's good. And also she's expensive. 4.0, the only 4.0 unit. And 100% for that 4.0 though, 100% worth. Like, no question. Just so.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and also she's despite being she's a very strong support unit as well. But despite being a support unit, she's actually a sniper as well. Like she has very long range attacks, right? I think it's like a range from 1 to 9, which is insane.
Yeah, she's pretty much unkillable too.
Yeah, and killable as well. So despite being a sniper, that's also literally unkillable and a support. Her sniper attacks actually deal very good damage as well.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have much of the problem than the previous snipers we said. Like of course the enemies are gonna defend for sure, but even though the defense is gonna deal like probably 6,000 to 8,000 damage.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, and she comes with love, which is like the spirit, which gives you a ton of like extra spirit to a target. Attune, prayer, just really good.
Yeah, and also she restores SP. She has an SP restore passive.
Yeah. Alright, 3 Fairies of Light.
Oh, the fairies. So I don't really use them much.
I will take it from here then. You can use these girls just for their buffs, and it's probably an okay field. The fairies, the combo is worse, but I mean you can still use them. 1.5, 1.5. They do get a lot of item slots, but the combo unit only uses Sunny. You can level them pretty easily once you get the combo. The problem is their damage is like very low. But they're pretty much unkillable as a combo unit. Like you can literally time out Lunatic spell cards if just by using the 3 Fairies of Light. You really want
that's
not
fun.
that you should, but you can. They're
That's
unkillable. The only problem is also they eat MP like crazy. Yeah, the MP consumption is absolutely terrible, but that's okay. You get Kokuma later. That fixes a lot of the problems, but yeah.
Kokuma has a lot of job to fix.
Yeah, Kokuma's got a lot of jobs. Alright, Rinnosuke.
Oh, Reno. So as a boat, I actually prefer Reno than Morasa as a boat captain because I actually love having +3 movement on the boat rather than having grip.
Excel, huh?
Yeah, so that's why I said Aya's good because the boat is quite a liability sometimes. So and even then you kind of want to put it beside units that are low MP or low health to load them up, while your other units continue pushing towards the boss because usually the distance between the starting location and the boss is very hard, right? Like Shinki, like Yuka, Utsuho, bosses like those.
Yeah.
So I prefer having Axel over Grit for the boat.
Yeah, I put him in B. He's a pretty good captain. Yeah, he's got a lot of tools to help the boat survive.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Zenki and Goki.
Oh, Zenki and so these are the two birds that I mentioned earlier that one can summon that you probably shouldn't use because they're pretty bad.
Pretty bad?
So they're pretty bad. So oddly enough, you could bring them at NG plus and they're really horrible. Like they're meme tier. Like I'm gonna say right now, they're meme tier. Because the thing is, they only have 5 spirits. So earlier I said Akyuu only has 5 because Rage is horrible, right?
Yeah.
But for the birds, they only have 5 spirits. Like the 6th one is blank. There's nothing filling it. And they only have 1 equipment slot too. So if you're gonna bring them on NG plus, avoid them at all costs. If you're gonna use them as an ability, you're making run weak.
Yeah. Make run worse.
So that's the only thing I could say about them. They're pretty weak. I think they do scale though, because they do scale based on run stats. So they're not like the dolls, but they're still considerably weaker. It's a lot better to use the personal ability that improves run's generic skill.
Yeah. Got you. Alright, Racing 2.
Oh, Racing 2, another of my favorite characters. So she's another semi-sniper this time. So not completely sniper. She's just in between of a unit that's questionable and a unit that's still questionable because she joins very, very late. So, she joins very. She has decent damage for sure. I actually used her the moment I got her on both Hard and Lunatic. Like, I even brought her back in my NG Plus. But yeah, like, she only has decent damage. It's not very good. But the thing is, she's ammo based, so she wouldn't be eating MP very quickly. You could use some attacks, so she could balance between MP and ammo. But her finisher uses ammo all the time. So the best thing you probably want to equip with her is the ability that the full ammo burst to give her a lot of damage. But in terms of availability and her entire performance as a unit, it's kind of bad. So I probably put her at C tier. And I've used her all the time. Like, the moment I got her, I always use her.
Got you. Where would you put her?
Yeah, I probably put her at low C tier because as a unit that joins so late, she doesn't really offer a lot. And like I said, being a semi-sniper, that's already put her in a questionable position.
Got you. And sniper mode?
Sniper mode is kind of unique. It has a map. This one has a map, but it's basically nearly the same attacks. So the map one is one-time use. It's 10 range and it's 1 tile wide, so it can only hit a few, but it does okay damage. I actually tried it. It's kind of okay, but that's where it stops. It just does okay damage. Is it worse than the base form? I don't really know, but is it worth fielding as well? Not really. So they're basically nearly at the same tier. It's not worse. I couldn't say it's worse, but it's definitely not an improvement as well.
Alright, where would you put her? D?
The same tier, like C tier.
D?
They're basically, it's not an improvement, but it's also not a downgrade in a way.
Alright. Toyohime and Yorihime.
So what do you think of Toyo?
She's really tanky. She actually like a 2,000 like metric barrier, which is insane. Does decent damage. Has intuition. Also has enable. So it's hard to argue against it. She's pretty good actually. Got the one-time use map attack that hits a bunch of enemies. I don't think it allies identifies though, so you gotta be careful. Hits pretty decent actually.
I haven't used her map because it scares me. I haven't used her map because it scares me. It might kill me.
Alright. Yorihime. It's Reimu with a sword. Reimu with a sword, who has really basically a lot of the same spirits that Reimu does. Mostly. Except joins way later. Which by extension I have to put it in B.
Yeah, that's the problem. She joins way later. And a lot more expensive as well. Like 3.5.
Both of these are 3.5, so it's hard to argue for them. It's hard to argue like if they were cheaper, it's totally fine, but their personal skills aren't even that bad. Their personal skills are good.
Definitely good.
But again, 3.5 stings a lot because at this point in the game, like when you have your team locked in, right? Like it's hard to like make a spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't really be much. I think so the problem with them is either being available too late. So you could make them as, let's say, 2.0, but they join super late. You probably won't put them in. Or their price. Like, they could join way early, like Remelia. So let's say, like, Remelia, Kanako, but then the 3.5 cost can be a downgrade in a way.
Yeah. Alright, Kosuzu. Kosuzu.
Oh, Kosuzu. So, she's basically just a support crew with Rinnosuke, so you can't really split them up together.
Yeah, I put her in B.
Like, if Rinnosuke is the survivability and movement, Kosuzu's basically the part of a ship that supports other members. Like, she could fully heal an ally, she could cast luck. She does have intuition for the ship to dodge. She also has effort and plus 10 power to any pairs in the map. So, support unit, really good. You get it for free, you're not gonna do anything with it. So, can't really say no to free stuff.
Yeah. Alright, Akyuu. No arguments here, right?
So,
no arguments here, right?
Yep, Akyuu. So she is the second unit that only costs 1 power in the game. Not 1 power. 1 deployment cost. So similar to cooldown Utsuho, but she's so much better. She's one of the best units in the game.
Yeah, so strong.
It's so absurd.
So strong. So broken. You can literally like have her do anything except for like pretty much every single personal skill on her except for like 1 is absolutely insane.
Yeah, the only skill that's pretty bad is called the 9th gen Savant, which basically allows Flash to work on the units she spared. It's still pretty good. It prevents them from dying, but it's a lot underwhelming that the other abilities she has.
When you compare to other skills, it's a lot worse. I mean, it's not unexpected for her to do like 15,000 and 20,000 damage with 1 attack. She's only got 1 attack. She's only got 1 attack, but pierces barriers and ignores size. The only thing you gotta fix is like her F rank in air or sky. But I mean, that's not hard. Because she has 4 item slots.
Yeah, she has 4 equipment slots, which is so absurd. Yeah. Like, she will break the kneecaps of her enemies.
Jesus. Alright. Then we got the 2 New Game Plus characters.
Alright, 2 originals. So they're not from any Toho games. They're the Toho, anything from Toho. They're original characters in this game. So let's first go with her companion, or rather friend, Miko. I really like Miko. So what do you think of Miko? Like, I like her character.
Well, because we have to judge her by like New Game Plus standards, it's kind of difficulty dependent. On hard mode, she's all right. She does get focus. Which is pretty good. Like, it really helps her a lot. And I would say she's perfectly usable on hard mode. I put her in B. She's not like amazing or anything, but she can. But you have a lot of time to farm her up. I don't think it's like she's absolutely amazing. Like, she's not gonna. She's like consistent, but doesn't not like amazing.
Yeah,
she's not gonna like snap the game in half or anything.
So as a NG plus character, so all of the characters we've been judging is basically new game, like, so, and no NG plus, you're basically getting them as you progress. So
Yeah.
for Miko and Makura, they're gonna be a bit different. We're gonna judge them on NG plus.
Yeah.
So in terms of, there are only two of them. So in availability, they're immediately S rank
Yeah.
because these characters basically join on the first stage like your protagonist.
Yeah.
Because they're basically the protagonist of NG plus. So
Yeah.
what you say with Miko is actually a bit different for me. But since you get Miko very early, you could basically start racing her like the protagonist. You know, like you could give her the kills, you could babysit her like with the other characters, and she'll actually grow very strong. Is it stronger than Marisa and Leimo?
No, not at all.
No, very not. But I do think that her potential is way better than most B tier characters. You know, like she's probably better than Yorihime in a sense because you do get her early.
Yeah.
Better than the three Fairies of Light for sure. Better than
Better than
Momiji. Yeah, better than Momiji. So I probably put her at low A to be honest.
Low
Because she
A.
also has low A. Like she's definitely better than base Sane in my opinion. Better than Letty. Better than Cyrano as well.
Right. I'll concede that then. Makura. Alright, Makura.
Yeah, Makura. So another original.
Just
So-
no contest, right? No.
Like
No
yep,
contest. Right?
no contest. So Makura is one of the few units that, like you mentioned earlier, that has one of the 3 units, I think, 3 units that has Dream, which is basically copy any spirits from your deployed units. And Makura actually automatically reduces the cost to a very affordable. It's not even double. Like I think it's just 10% more or 20%. I forget the amount. But they're very cheap. Like you can easily purchase them with use them with Makura. And Makura also restores SP by
Yeah.
herself.
Her SP regen is absolutely insane. She also starts 2 really good skills. She starts with
Support attack.
she starts with wall, which is pretty good. Like for her, it's pretty good because
Oh,
she's not
spirits,
very
yeah.
accurate. Her second skill is attune. Straight
Yeah,
up
attune.
attune.
So, we mentioned earlier that Satori is really good with Attune, right? Of
Yeah.
course, like Makura but the problem with Satori is she joins very late. Then Makura just like crashes on the first stage and just tells everybody, yeah man, I can definitely give you guys Attune. And she regenerates SP2, so she could definitely cast it a lot before she
Yeah.
runs out.
Yeah. My only problem with
So-
her is that she doesn't get attuned right away. You need to wait a little bit, like, but not very far. Like I think like level 10. It's kind of the same problem as Marisa. You need to wait till like level 10 to actually get attuned. But once you do, pretty much no enemy is gonna be able to stop her because you can give attune to anybody you want. It's cheaper as well. It's like 20. It's 20
Wow,
SP.
really?
It's 20 SP.
Yeah, it's 20.
It's 20 SP, which is the same as Satori's, but way earlier. Way. Like if Satori joins at like chapter 60 something, but Makura is like chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
Yeah,
right?
chapter 1. And I think by like chapter 10 or 9 or 10, if you get her to like level 10, maybe like level 12, you already have a tune. It's absolutely insane. If that's not enough too,
Yeah.
if you're feeling everybody else as well, she gets all their spirits too.
Yeah, so if you can give people the accuracy, you know what? Just copy someone's accuracy and hit someone with it because Makura also has very good damage actually, and she's super tanky too.
Yeah.
Like super beefy.
Yeah. Her parameter upgrades are really good too. Like she gets so much MP.
And also, we didn't mention, but at 120 power, so unlike most characters that transform that requires 130, Makura only needs 120. So you can actually really achieve this easily on early stages of the game, where she could then transform to her awakened state, which gives her a lot of better attacks. One of them is a map, which doesn't damage allies too, which is very important.
Yeah. A map that early, Jesus. You can literally beat the first game in like 2 hours, 3 hours. That's actually not even a joke.
Yeah, that's how powerful Makura is. So if Akyuu is a 1-point unit that is super strong, but she joins a bit late though. But Akyuu is very strong, so she's still S tier worthy because even by then she bends the knees of her enemies.
Yeah.
Like she joins after the moon, right? Makura joins so early, like she joins on the first chapter and she bends everyone's knees there as well. It's so scary.
Yeah. It's so easy to make her strong.
Yeah, it's
All
so
right.
easy. No,
I think that's everybody. Look, we got it.
yeah, yeah. Finally, we're done. We even included including the spawns like the dolls, the crows. I feel bad for Yuka, but can't really do much.
Yeah. All right.
But
Any
yeah,
any
I'm for
final
sure.
comments?
Um, so final comment, not really about the tier list. So before we did this collab, I actually tried to play Hakutako mode, Kane's Hakutako mode, and she actually crushed my game. So
Oh,
yeah, that is so different. But yeah, that's about it. Like this tier list, I'm fine with it. We did discuss a few characters.
yeah, makes sense. Good thing I have experience in Takataka mode, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
All right. All right. So that's basically kind of what we think of the characters. Like this is just keep in mind, this is totally subjective. Like if a character is better for you, just go ahead and use it. This game is pretty balanced. Like you can generally use a lot of characters, and they'll still turn out fine as long as you put the proper amount of investment in them or build them well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
the, o-
definitely true.
yeah,
And,
the only time
and people can play.
yeah, you can play however you like. Like you can make a character good because it's not like you have RNG growths or anything like Fire Emblem. Everyone has like set growths. Number two, like I said, you're not playing max difficulty, so all these characters are like all usable. The only characters like I would say you have a lot of difficulty using are like all the meme characters and all the D rank characters. Like they're pretty difficult to use, but even then you could still make them work. Like you're gonna have to put a lot of effort into them.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And technically, you can even put a lot of effort on the Hore and Shanghai dolls, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm Paper Ninja.
And I'm Misuki, like I said earlier.
Yeah, and if you're looking for like any playthroughs, right? Check out Misuki's channel. He's doing a playthrough on Normal Plus right now. He's got some pretty good strategies that you can use. That I think are just universally pretty good. Like that you could totally use for your own playthrough as well if you're having some difficulty with the chapters.
Oh yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So on my playthrough, I am definitely not using. So despite we made this tier list, I'm definitely not using the top tier units there because I mentioned earlier that I only use some units a little. So I'm giving them a chance on that playthrough. So if you wanna see some different units, go give that a check. Currently, I'm doing the SA chapter. I'm about to fight Utsuho at the date of this on this recording. So if you want, give that a check. Feel free to watch. I leave a very long description on what to do on those stages, some guides, what the character does, and stuff like that. And also, if you're interested in Fantasy Maiden Wars and you're confused about certain mechanics or you want to see a character analysis, go check out Paper Ninja's channel. Recently, he made a very good high-level detailed character analysis video for Reimu Hakure. It's actually really well done. I personally love that video, so give that a check. And if you want to check, he also has videos of support, attack, and defend, and the intermission menus. So it kind of helps you if you're new to the game.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today, guys. Everyone, have a wonderful day, and we hope you enjoy Fantasy Main Wars as much as we've enjoyed it because it's a great game.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. Give it a shot. If you're only watching this and you don't know the game, play the game right now. Play even complete box. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
yeah.
amazing. All right.